The Ministry of Economic Development of Ukraine is looking for ways out of the list of countries whose products the USA authorities intend to impose duties. Increase in the output of cold-rolled steel in Russia. Kyrgyzstan Steel Company takes control of 2 factories producing concentrate and pellets with a capacity of 2.5 million tons per year each. Watch more about this in the weekly review of Metal News. The program is supported by the Tech Energoprom Group. The Ministry of Economic Development of Ukraine is negotiating with the USA authorities to exclude Ukraine from the list of countries whose product will be subject to an import duty of 25% for steel and 10% for aluminium. The ministry notes that Ukrainian rolling does not pose a threat to the national security of the United States. Metallurgists may lose one of the highly marginal markets, but the largest commodity flow in the form of export of pig iron will not suffer. This product is not included in the list of goods for which duties have been established. The redirection of flat iron volumes will not be a serious problem, because in 2017 the total exports to USA accounted for about 1% of all shipments. Large producers Interpipe, Metinvest and ArcelorMittal Kryvyi Rih refrained from commenting. For Interpipe, the loss of the USA market can be palpable. In 2017, 50% of all sales were exported to the USA market, and the company had certain hopes for the development of exports in this direction. In July 2017, Interpipe received an extension of the agreement for a year. This agreement refers to the suspension of the duty rate of 7.47% for imports in the United States. Prices for sheet metal in Ukraine have stabilized and remain at the level of the late February. The unstable exchange rate of the hryvnia and low competition with imports do not help lower quotes. Russian exporters are planning an increase in prices for Ukrainian consumers in April at $20 to $25 per ton. Hot-rolled sheet of 2 to 12 mm will be available at $640 per ton. Price prospects for April remain mixed. In case of weakening the hryvnia and maintaining positive trends in foreign markets, the Ukrainian supplier can raise prices. Russian producers have increased the output of commercial cold-rolled products. Repairs at individual plants in fewer days in February did not become a hindrance to production growth by 8% compared to the result of January. However, this indicator was achieved by reducing the output of hot-rolled steel. The increase in production is noted at all enterprises. LMC increased output of cold-rolled steel by 10%. The volume of production at the end of February amounted to 166,000 tons. The Cherepavetsky metallurgical plant increased its indicators by 12% and brought the volume up to 108,000 tons. Magnitogorsk MC produced about 122,000 tons, which is 1% more than in January. Deliveries to the domestic market amounted to about 259,000 tons, which is 29% more than in January this year. At the same time, the demand for cold-rolled steel remains less than usual. The export of cold-rolled steel also fell to 153,000 tons. Evraz West Siberian Metallurgical Combine continues to increase export deliveries of slabs in March. In March, the volume will be approximately 155,000 tons. Following the results of the first 2 months of 2018, Evraz West Siberian Metallurgical Combine exported more than 205,000 tons of slabs. A significant increase in demand caused an increase in shipments in comparison with February by 35%. The rise in prices for flat products and semi-finished products on foreign markets contributed to the increased demand for Russian products. The total volume of export of slabs reached 895,000 tons in March, which is 20% higher than the result of February. US Trade Minister Wilbur Ross and European Commissioner for Trade Cecilia Malmström agreed to launch a dialogue between the European Commission and the United States on the controversial issues related to the supply of steel and aluminium. American duties on steel imports could seriously affect European metallurgy. Experts believe that exports from Europe to America will continue, with a corresponding rise in prices for products that are not produced in the domestic market of the United States or produced in insufficient quantities. The European Union exported to the United States only about 3 million tons of steel last year, which is only 9% of total steel imports in the United States. The main source of concern for European steel makers is the possible redirection of trade flows to the UE open market after the introduction of duties. Steel production in Italy increased to 2 million tons in February, which is more by 4.5% compared to last year's indicator. In Italy, the production of long products increased by 6.4% and amounted to 931,000 tons in January, while flat-rolled products amounted to 923,000 tons, which is 3.5% less than in January 2017. The USA Department of Commerce disclosed the procedure for withdrawing from the duty on imports of steel products a week before the entry into force of these measures. Enterprises that have applied for the cancellation of the fee will be assessed by the availability of an internal supply of the declared products in sufficient quantity and quality. According to forecasts, the USA Department of Commerce will receive more than 4,000 requests for exclusion from the tariffs for steel imports. The official statement of the ministry says that the processing of applications usually does not exceed 90 days. Kyrgyzstan Steel Company acquired a 67% stake in the National Industrial and Mineral Development Company, which allows the enterprise to gain control of 2 factories producing concentrate and pellets with a capacity of 2.5 million tons per year each. These plants are located in the Sangan district, South Khorasan province. The acquisition will enable Kyrgyzstan Steel Company to increase its own supply of raw materials and implement announced plans for the production of steel. Domestic steel prices fell this week in China. The reason for this was an increase in warehouse stocks of rolled steel in factories. Quotations in Tanshan district decreased by $5, an average of $561 per ton on EXW terms. Stockpiles of rebars in factories increased by 5.8% over the past week to 3.53 million tons. Chinese traders have suspended the saturation of warehouses, fearing a drop in demand in the near future. You are watching Metal News Review for the week. Indicative prices for the current positions by the end of the reporting week look like this. You have watched the weekly review of Metal News. Watch our releases, subscribe to our channel and click on the bell in order not to miss the next review.